I have a facial paralysis right now, but I'm usually a very smiley person, so I'm just going to put this up here to remind you. If I could, that's how I would look right now. It's my privilege to stand before you, and it really is a privilege. 2 weeks ago, I nearly died in the ICU at HUP due to a septic shock. And that was pretty scary, but I'm grateful to be here and grateful to be standing. And I also would like to thank all of you for the money you've helped raise, and thank the LLS. You've helped my family in more ways than one. And I want to thank Derek. He truly is a hero to not only cancer survivors, but transplant recipients and transplant donors. And I appreciate being able to share my story a little bit with everyone here. It was December of 2011, and our son was only 7 months old. And I had just finished a semester at the college, and I'd been working full time. And the only thing I was really struggling with, I was having some headaches, and I looked kind of pale. And I thought it was because I've been staying up studying for finals, but when my headaches persisted through the holiday, I caved into my wife's better judgment, and I saw a doctor. And it was kind of an uneventful visit. He said, you do look kind of pale, but if I didn't know you, I wouldn't know the difference. And what I'd like to do is just get some blood work before you go, and I'll follow up with you next week. Well, I went back to work, and that's when that afternoon I received a phone call. The phone call, I guess you could say. And it was the doctor I'd seen that morning. And he said, your blood work came back, and I want you to go to the emergency room. And I was severely anemic. Well, we did just that. We went to the emergency room, and I didn't leave the hospital for 7 months. But when we got there, it seemed like we did every test in the book, and turns out that we didn't find out till the next day. It was January 4th, 2012, that I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is actually a childhood cancer. You don't generally get it when you're my age, but I used to joke with my wife that I act pretty childish, so it's only fitting that I get a childhood kind of cancer. Well, that's when my battle began, and it was 5 months of chemotherapy, much like my friend Derek here. 5 months of chemotherapy, and I was finally in remission. And I had my first stem cell transplant on June 1st, 2012. And after months of recovery and physical therapy to get my strength back, I'd done it. I had beat cancer, or so I thought. It was only 8 months later when my cancer returned, and the news that leukemia came back was a difficult thing. I actually had to turn down a scholarship at the University of Utah because I was entering the hospital to start chemotherapy again. And we tried a couple of months of chemotherapy, and then we heard my doctor utter the words that no one wants to hear their doctor say. He said, there's nothing more that we can do. And at that point, my wife and I started looking for alternative treatments. And we found a clinical trial taking place down in Houston, Texas. And we flew there to MD Anderson Medical Center. And I was in part of the study there, and it was a miracle. And what took 5 months on chemotherapy and radiation, full body radiation, the previous year, and all the fun things that go along with that, as I'm sure you guys are aware. This study and this immunotherapy, I was in remission within 2 weeks, and we ended up flying back to Utah, and I had my second stem cell transplant last summer, July 5th, 2013. Well, again, I'd done it. I beat cancer, and then this last April, I woke up a couple nights with back pain and night sweats. And my wife and I, even before we went to go do the blood work, a dark cloud kind of moved over us. And we knew that the cancer had come back. And it was actually that morning, before we even went to the clinic, we got back online and started reading up. And we read about little Emily Whitehead and Dr. June and Dr. Porter and the work they're doing here in Philadelphia. And it felt right. So, it was a ray of hope through that dark cloud of cancer that had come back again. So here we are in Pennsylvania, and we've been here a little longer than we expected. I've had my fair share of Philly cheesesteaks, but I've also had my fair share of trips to the emergency room. Unfortunately, started when we got here. I broke out in hives, and I don't know if I'm allergic to Rita's water ice. We never did quite figure out what caused that, but things got a little scary when I suffered. My face became paralyzed. First the right side, and then the left. And then as we found out that the leukemia had actually spread to my brain, and it was causing these neurological issues. The good news is as I've been doing chemotherapy here in Philadelphia, that's been improving. So I've been getting some movement in my face, and my vision, I've been struggling with double vision, that's been improving as well. So on Tuesday, we found out that my 4th lumbar puncture came back clean, of leukemia, or negative for leukemia, and we can now move forward with the T-cell treatment. And as was mentioned, if all things go well, we'll start that on Wednesday. And I'm just here to tell you that it's difficult for me to put into words, but my wife and I are so appreciative of all of the effort that you guys have put into raising money to fund this trial. I recently vlogged, we have a family vlog to keep people updated, and I said, now it's the 4th quarter and time is running out. It's time for that perfectly placed touchdown pass. And I truly believe that this treatment is that touchdown pass. I've been joking, it's our Hail Mary. And watching the Eagles lately, I've learned that you can win a game in the second half. Feeling pretty good about that. This experience has taught me that what it really means to be a survivor. I think when I first had cancer, I thought that, a survivor was, okay, now I'm in remission, now I can have a transplant, and I'm better now. And I'm here to tell you that that's actually not the case. But I stand here to tell you that a cancer survivor is a survivor every day. And that every day that you wake up and fight, you win. Thank you.